Welcome to this week's Who the Folk podcast. I'm Lonnie Goldsmith, the editor of TCJW. This week, we have some much-needed levity and randomness with Terri Lindenbaum. We talk about her co-founding the Piecycle Club, her work on the NCJW board, and how she creatively brings together her Korean heritage with her Judaism on this week's Who the Folk podcast. But before we hear from Terri, be sure to check out the refreshed TCJW merch store with newly designed stickers, shirts, hats, and tote bags that help support our mission and help you look fun and stylish. Check it out at tcjewfolk.com/store. Terri Lindenbaum, welcome to the Who the Folk podcast. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be
here.
I'm
so excited to talk to you too. You know, I was telling you before we started recording, a lot of times I'll talk to new clergy in town or people who work in TV news and are very visible. But I got introduced to you by my coworker Genevieve, and you have one of the more diverse and in the best possible way random backgrounds of people that I've talked to.
It's potpourri of things here and there. Yeah, when you emailed, I wrote back and I was like, I don't know that you wanna. I'm not that interested. But okay, I'm cutting myself short. I don't have a lot of active things going on, I think is what I
think that's where you were going with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. But the background is to me what's so fascinating. So I guess we'll start with the most recent and kind of maybe pop around a little bit. But one of the things that I thought was the most fun in sort of researching the Minneapolis Piecycle Club.
Yep.
Which you are the co-founder.
I am a co-founder of that.
Tell us what the Piecycle Club is.
Yes, I would love to get into Piecycle things. So, I guess a year and a half ago now, I was with, backyard with my friends. We both have young kids, and my friend Levi Mills and Joel Bender, we were hanging out and just kind of reminiscing about, we don't really do the things that we used to as much, like cycling as much, because we have young kids. And wouldn't it be nice if we could just do that? And I said, why not? Why can't we do that? We like, pastry. The things that we do with our kids now is, go to bakeries and things like that. Why can't we just combine it together and just let's make it Piecycle Club? And it's like pie bike. Right. Our website is pie.bike actually,
which is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how Levi's he's like he does all the digital things and amazing with it. But it became this thing. We're like, let's try it, and we put it out there into the social media, and it's become this wonderful fun kind of pop-up thing that we do. We put out rides for usually about 5 to 6 miles, which is a pretty good distance, starting at a playground. So, it's not just for young families, it's just for anyone who wants just a casual ride, who likes, we go pastry pace. So we just go at a cruising speed. We're happy to pull over for any potty breaks, or anyone wants to stop and look at something. We start at a playground or someplace, and then usually end at a bakery or someplace where we can get treats and chat and all about the journey ride. And this year I think we actually had last year we started and it was a great year, and then this year our first ride, we usually don't know how many people to expect. We got about 50 riders.
Whoa.
We didn't really know what to do, and thankfully the bike community here is amazing. There's so many clubs for anybody who wants to. There's something for everybody.
Right.
So folks helped out with keeping the riders together, and we recently did our first field trip ride, our destination ride. So we did one in Apple Valley. And we again didn't know what to expect. We had about 40 riders that came, some from Apple Valley, some from Farmington, some from Minneapolis, who came out for it. And we started at a playground, went to Rose Valley Farms, which is just a little small farm in a neighborhood. It's pretty incredible. And
that's so cool.
Hung out with some llamas and goats and rode a little tractor around. And it's just, it's a good time. People who just want to get out with their kids. And, we've also kind of shifted to just seeing, it really is about just like what people want. So we always ask where people are coming from, like what neighborhood they're coming out from, because we want to be able to start some rides from there, and always, open to have conversation about, what are some places you like to go? Where are some new places we should try out? And we had this idea to do these mini pie rides. So they're for like littles, so maybe about like a mile or just like around the block, so that kids can just get comfortable seeing other kids on bikes and comfortable on their own bikes. And my son is on a pedal bike, so for him too, to be able to do a Piecycle ride, he's so proud of it, and things. So yeah, it's just kind of we've been just shifting gears to what people want, and I think that's just kind of what parent. It really is about that, shifting to what works and something that's fun. Everyone is looking for something that's fun, and
right. And I think it's great that you're able to find this outlet that like is interesting to you. It's definitely riding and sports and fit like this, and we'll get into some of that. But like it's something that's very clearly important to you, and to pass it on to your kids. And as you mentioned, Minneapolis being such a phenomenal the bike infrastructure. I mean, could definitely be better in some spots, and isn't for everybody. I totally get that, but like, it's really good in this town.
Yeah,
it's
is
really good.
Yeah, and you can, and contrary to some, belief, you can do it all year round if you just got to get the right gear, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's just been, and I I don't hold any professional titles, but if I would, it would be like, community organizing. I just really, truly love connecting with people.
Yeah.
And so this has just been a fun way to, meet folks where they're in our neighborhood and new neighborhoods. And I think that's, especially out of the pandemic. And I think people are a little bit like, at first too much, like, we got to get all back into society and good things. But people want like an easier entry point for that too, I think. And I don't know, Piecycle's just been a fun way to do that.
And I think people looking for an entry point is going to sort of like the rate at which they want to move forward with getting back into things is going to vary based on their stage in life. Mm-hmm. You and your husband have young kids. Mm-hmm. You may not be quite so eager to just jump right back into 2019 life.
Yeah. And also just because like they put things in their mouth and things
they
like
put
that.
everything in their mouth.
I mean, yeah, it's
little kids are pretty gross.
Kids are really gross. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think older kids aren't always that much better.
That's true. Like, yeah, it's a curve of it's
definitely a spectrum.
Yes.
Of things. You mentioned the community organizing piece. One of the other things you have going on right now is you're on the board of NCJW Minnesota. Yes. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about the sort of community visioning process that's going on for the organization right now. What's your kind of role within that?
Yeah, so I am currently, this is my, going into my third year on the board.
Okay.
Everyone knows Beth Gendler, love her.
Beth.
When she was executive director, reached out, and she actually reached out to me when I was, I think it was 2020. It was a pandemic. It was a weird time. But I had just had my daughter, and I was like, I actually do want to get involved with more things right now. I need stuff. So it was an interesting time to join a board. I'd never joined a board before, and everything was Zoom, and it was different. But yeah, and my role on the board has changed from just being committee members to now I'm chair of the outreach and engagement committee, and on several other committees. And I think that's the best thing about it too, is just it's not just board members, it's also community members who can be involved with on the boards or on the committees. And right now NCJW's got strategic planning process going on, which is really exciting. It's just kind of in a vision convening that's happening October 29th, actually. Gonna pitch it in there real quick. From 9:30 to 12:30 at the St. Paul JCC.
Okay.
And that's open to everyone to just help us develop a vision for the work and over the next 3 to 5 years for NCJW. And it's been such a real wonderful. I just love how action oriented NCJW is, and I just love the women. I just love the women on it's not just within our board, and it's just also the communities and community allies and other sharing spaces with other organization. It's just been a really phenomenal place for my Jewish activism and like social change work, and it's I can't say enough about it, and it's been really wonderful to have Erica lead, the new executive director.
She's great.
Just leading the ship, and
Where do you think that the sort of activism, or if you don't want to necessarily go there, like social consciousness around the sort of work in NCJW that you're looking to get involved in comes from?
Outside of just Judaism. And
it can come from anywhere. I'm sort of curious where that...
I think, I mentioned before to my sister, who is a assembly, she's the first Asian American assembly member in the state of Wisconsin. And I think it's not only that, just within our home too, just growing up of, you're not just a soul being. It's just within the fabric. I guess I remember I've got my sister. My parents are immigrants here from South Korea, and I think their experiences also from coming from a country that during when they were growing up to a lot of kind of political instability and things, and just always trying to have a voice for those who don't have one or need help with it. I think it's kind of stems from that a bit.
I think it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be some like profound grand place, but I think like you see it from your parents, and like a lot of times it comes from within families, and I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. What brought your family to Wisconsin?
My dad was studying at the university there.
Okay.
Go Badgers. Born and raised in Madison. Yeah, I hopped the border across the Mississippi here. My dad studied sociology at UW, and my mom was with us at home, but she actually ended up going back to school for what she truly wanted to do, also a Badger. We've got a lot of Badgers in the house.
Okay.
For music education, got her master's in voice.
Wow.
And she, and I just so admire her for, being a parent is hard, but being a parent in a country that you just like came to, and then raising kiddos who are like in this,
and I think you straddle two worlds as kids growing up with immigrant parents
For sure.
It's your community and it's also your parents' community, but in some ways like it might be hard for them to fit in that way.
For sure. Yeah. And just the fact that the fact that my mom at like younger than me, or at my age, went back to school to really do what she wanted, but still be so present for us too. And it's just, I'm like, oh man, I don't know that I could go back to school and like do, even if like English was my first language, like English is my first language. I don't want to go back to school and do all that, like doing math and writing, and like she was a 4.0 student. I went to UW and I was definitely not a 4.0 student. Let me tell you that. Incredible. My folks are amazing.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's such great role models to have in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an easy sort of place to pull back to.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're a family full of Badgers,
yes.
And yet along your career journey here, you were an assistant rowing coach at the University of Minnesota.
I was at one point. I was an assistant rowing coach.
How does one like
how did that happen?
become a rowing coach? Which is it's wild.
Yeah. So when I was at Wisconsin, I was on the lightweight rowing team there, and prior to that, I was actually involved with rowing in high school. We had a club. Do they have clubs here too?
Yeah, they do. That's true.
Yeah, they got
lots of lakes.
Lots of lakes in the river. Yeah, for sure. And I started coaching high school rowing after college in town. Always, and not just high school. I coached adults. I coached a team called We Can Row, which were women who had cancer or cancer recovery, and not just breast cancer, just in general. And it was somewhat of an adaptive rowing team, and that was just the women there also just phenomenal. I learned
really inspirational.
Yeah. So and there's something really therapeutic about being on the water. But yeah, so I coached a lot in Wisconsin, and then my husband and I moved. At the time, my fiance, we moved to Minneapolis, and I was here, and I was like, that's something that like grounds me because I had been involved with rowing for a while, and so I emailed the head coach at the time, and I was like, look, I'm just looking to just maybe volunteer coach. I'm here. I'm trying to just figure out. It's a new place. This is something that I know. So I was volunteer coaching for a couple years with the Gophers, and got a job at land care at the U, which is with the head landscape architect at the U, because I studied landscape architecture at Wisconsin, and so would work. I was one of the landscape designers. You have to be like licensed to call yourself a landscape architect. I'm not licensed.
Okay.
I never got there.
Okay.
But would volunteer coach, and then coaching changes happen. They're like, hey, there's going to be a position open. Do you want to apply for it? And so I'm thinking like, okay, my trajectory for this, it had always been, no one goes into coaching for the pay.
No,
it's because it's your passion and you love doing it. And I loved working with the athletes and helping them get to their best, because each athlete's different, and what works, and rowing is like, I know Minnesota is all about row the boat, but like it really is just like the ultimate team sport. And when you see it like in the Olympics, it looks effortless, but it's like,
oh no, it looks anything but effortless.
It looks beautiful. I should say it looks elegant and beautiful when you're on the water.
It is unbelievably striking on the water.
Yes,
it looks anything but effortless.
Okay.
I'm watching them, and I'm like, my heart's going to explode watching them do this.
Yeah, it's full body. Yeah,
it is everything.
It's just excruciating pain for how many minutes to get across the 2,000 meter marker finish line. But yeah, so there was I applied, and I did a total career shift, another gear change, so to speak. Got that.
Yeah, that's right. Nice callback.
Yeah. But yeah, so I and was assistant coaching, and it was, it's a dream job, right? Because if you're getting paid for something that you're gonna volunteer to do,
that's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and the opportunity came, and I was like, I just feel so lucky to do this. It's to coach at that level in Minnesota there are not a ton of collegiate D1 teams where you can. The U is the only place you can do it. So it was a great opportunity. Loved it, and that's how.
How many seasons were you with the team?
I was on staff. I was with them for about 1.5 because I was pregnant actually. Even though I was like, I'm not gonna get pregnant. I'm focused on coaching, and then we got pregnant, and I had my son Noah and coached for that summer, and it's a lot of travel, and it's a lot of. And
a lot of bus and van travel. You're not
and,
traveling like the football and basketball teams.
Exactly. And we practice super early in the morning, and my husband's job, he works a shift schedule, which means he works like, overnights or evenings, and it always constantly changes, and it was it just was going to be hard for our family.
Yeah.
But I was so thankful for the opportunity, and it was great, and it was another change to after working for a bit. I thought I'd kind of re-enter into the workforce, but it ended up with COVID and stuff. I was like, I think full-time stay-at-home parent is what I'm currently still doing right now. So
well, I mean, COVID, 2 young kids, it's like
Yeah.
It's not the worst time.
It's not the worst time. Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
So the timing of it kind of worked out, and actually, and then at that point, I also was like really active with PJ Library.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, before COVID, it was like when Noah was born. Tried to get.
You were one of the parent coordinators.
Yeah, I ended up applying for a parent coordinator position because again, I just really loved the aspect of PJ Library is just such a it's such a wonderful program, and it's a brilliant program too.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I talked to a lot of families. So I converted to Judaism, and so the fact with the books and everything, just to be able to learn it with my kids, and it's such a wonderful. It's a wonderful. I can't say so enough good things about PJ. But the fact of meeting all of these families who had either multi-faith families or raising their kids Jewish, or folks who were kind of coming back to their Judaism. They were like, but now I have kids and I want this to be in their lives.
Right.
And being able to help facilitate group meetups and things was just really rewarding. And I know some people just do not they like showing up to things, but they don't like organizing those things.
Oh, yeah.
I truly love making those connections with people.
I mean, and
I get energy
it's such
from
a theme
it. Yeah.
through, talking to you today,
Yeah.
it's just such a theme through everything
Yeah.
you've been a part of is the connecting, it's the
Yeah.
unity, it's the bringing
Yeah,
people together.
because like when you
whether it's coaching or whether it's PJ Library
yeah,
books,
or with Piecycle,
or Piecycle,
yeah.
it's bringing people
Yeah,
together.
yeah, and I think there's just such, I don't know, this sounds so scripted, but really, it's like I think like when you bring people together and you have a conversation, and that experience you can't recreate in any other space. Like even Zoom, people talk about, it's so much more convenient to do Zoom meetings, and yes, there is absolutely
100%.
cuts down your commute time things, but a lot of times the important stuff happens in the side conversations.
Yeah.
And you miss out on that 100% when you just limit yourself to just that screen time. So I don't know. I think it's all about a balance too, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, look, I've done plenty of these over Zoom since 2020. Even now, like if it's what's more convenient for the guest, I'm happy to do it over Zoom. But I would much rather be sitting across the table from you.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels, even if there's no difference in the content, it feels like a more authentic conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad that makes sense. I wasn't sure that made
No,
sense.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think it definitely makes a difference. It for sure does. So I'm curious, you mentioned converting. What, I would imagine the PJ Library journey, but not just the job, but like getting the books with your kids makes a difference, because like you learn sort of having never been through conversion myself. So like, I don't know what the classes and everything are like where you converted, but I'd imagine it sort of gives you kind of some, like a lot of the sort of nuts and bolts Judaism, but like the cultural things that get talked about in the books are things that you don't get through the class. Yeah.
So cultural things, something that I think some people don't realize about, even like camps, right? A big, not like a culture, but like it's a part of it's a part of Judaism.
Yeah.
You go into your summer camp and things, and I think we got like a book about that once, and Noah's like, my son, he's just like, oh man, I'm gonna go.
When do I get to go to camp?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Little thing, and I didn't go to any type of sleepaway camp growing up, and so just little bits like that. But also just, you do learn. I mean, I think it is a difference when you choose to choose something as an adult. It's just it's a different experience.
For sure.
And I do think that sometimes my husband's like, oh man, you're making me go to a couple of things. I'm just like, come on, we're in it. And I have the enthusiasm and excitement for it. And, but yeah, I think with the books, just with being able to do the traditions together and making it ours, like Sukkot is like, the kids love putting the sukkah up. It usually actually there's a lot of intersectionality with Judaism and my Korean culture. Like,
Really?
So,
How
yeah.
so?
Yeah. So Sukkot usually falls on the same time as the autumn harvest festival, which is called Chuseok in Korean, and that's the time when Chuseok it's like Korean Thanksgiving. It's like a big feast of the harvest, celebrating the harvest, but also like honoring your ancestors and remembering those. And so for us, like my grandparents passed away, so we have like their favorite meals out that they love, and then just putting and really remembering them and stories about it. And so this year we did Chukot, which is like Chuseok, and so we did it out in the sukkah, and we invited some friends, and we had a bunch of Korean food, and I think when I'm able to find those bits for our kids too, because like their Judaism's gonna be, it's very as present as their Korean identity, and so it was that like that doing traditions and new traditions with our kids like that. It's just been so fun. I mean, parenting can, got their highs and lows. That's like definitely a high for when they're excited for it.
And I love the fact that you're able to bring in your family's culture and background to your husband and your kids, and you like find ways to merge when they can.
Yeah,
and that feels like, really what
Yeah.
I mean, it's what family is all about.
Yeah,
is bringing
absolutely.
in something from each of your sides
Yeah,
and forming your own versions of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's really fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. And like to share it with our friends too. We're so excited to come in and hang out. I mean, it was like 90 degrees, but it was it was warm.
Weirdest fall we've had.
It was, yeah.
At least you're outside.
Yes, yeah. But we were like, okay, we'll just put some fans in there and get some air moving, and but it was a great time.
Like, there have been plenty of Sukkots we don't put up a sukkah, but my cousins used to, and we would go to their house, and like there have been plenty of Sukkots where it snowed.
Yeah, or where it's
in like
freezing.
late October,
yeah.
or it's just really cold.
Yep.
So it's like
it's totally variable.
Right.
It's like Passover. It's like usually probably gonna snow, but also could not.
Right. It could be 80 degrees also.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah. Mother Nature, she runs the show.
Mother Nature is undefeated.
Yes.
There is no question.
She does. Yeah.
With Terri Lindenbaum, we could clearly we didn't even get into the endurance running, the ultra marathon stuff, but we don't. I mean, you're not still ultra marathoning?
I am not.
Or are you? Okay.
I'm not. The last race I did was marathon last year.
Okay.
But
I have friends who do these I have a friend who does 100-mile trail run type things, and I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
That's a different level.
It was and that it's such a lifetime ago, and it was something that was really fun at the time, brought me and not to say that it wouldn't still bring, I mean, I don't know, your body changes.
Oh, yeah.
My body's getting older now, and I'm really really happy just commuting with my kiddos.
Yeah.
The Burley bike situation is really is great, but also, still hurts my low back.
That's a big bike to be, and plus you're got kids in the trailer.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of weight to be dragging
Yeah,
around.
so it's a different.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lifestyle change for me. I don't really have the time. My endurance goes to my children. With it's because it's not just it's all hours of the night, and it's a lot. So
yes, as my mother so helpfully told us after our second year, when my wife was pregnant with our second kid, twice as many kids is more than twice as much work. Thank you. Yeah. We think we knew that, but
Don't you hate how everything that everyone said, you're just okay, but it's all true, and it's a little bit irritating.
But you can never admit that it's true.
You can never admit it. But
I'm sure my mother's going to listen to this and be like, see, I was right.
Yeah. Just everything is, so infuriating that it's true, but it's all true.
And it's almost all good.
It's almost all good, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Terri, last couple of questions that we always end on to get you out of here. First, what is your favorite Jewish holiday?
Oh.
And it's okay if you stepped on it with Sukkot. That's okay. You don't have to come up with something different.
Well, we have so many New Years that we celebrate in our household.
Oh,
You got the Gregorian, you got, Jewish. You also got Tu B'Shvat. We love
Yeah.
Tu B'Shvat, and you also got Seollal, which is the Korean lunar New Year.
Okay.
So I just love New Year's because I feel like we got it. Like, yeah, we're gonna.
You get so many of them. That's amazing.
We get a lot. Yeah.
Pick your New Year.
Yeah, any of the New Years.
Any of the New Years.
Any of the New Years
amazing.
we like celebrate.
And what is your favorite Jewish food?
My favorite Jewish food, babka.
Anyone's in particular? I mean, this is like, I love that you came up with the baked good. You know, this is like the full circle of
with Piecycle.
Piecycle.
Yeah, I mean, like, who doesn't love a great pastry?
Yeah, obviously. But
Yeah.
like, so anyone's babka in particular? Or are you not that discriminating? You don't really discriminate.
I don't really discriminate. I'm just like, I feel like sometimes you're just like, I need this specific one, but at the moment, any of the babkas will do for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Terri Lindenbaum, thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on. This
Ronnie.
was so much fun, and I think with everything going on in the world these last couple of weeks, a little bit of levity is sort of needed.
A little randomness, a little
random, a lot of randomness, a little levity
Yes.
is much appreciated, but thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Who the Folk podcast is a part of the Jew Folk Podcast Network and a product of Jew Folk Inc. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you have suggestions for other podcast guests, please email them to me at editor@tcjewfolk.com. For our other shows, check out tcjewfolk.com/podcast.